Hi guys, it's Alona Minkowski, and we are still here in Philadelphia for the Democratic National Convention. It is the last day. Hillary Clinton will be giving her speech this evening where she accepts the party's nomination. But right now we have Gary Johnson. He's the former governor of New Mexico, and he is the Libertarian candidate for president, and he's joining us. So, Governor, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you.
And what are you doing at the DNC?
Just trying to be very respectful of the fact that this is the Democratic National Convention and that Hillary is getting the nomination. Something that I did in Cleveland also, respectful of the fact that Trump is getting the nomination, but hoping to be able to to debate them both come this September.
So are you trying, though, you're trying to be respectful, but are you also trying to siphon people off of the edges to try to get them to your side?
Well, not at the convention, certainly. I think the broad pitch is that for most Americans, being fiscally responsible, socially inclusive, tolerant, and from a military intervention standpoint, I think most of us have become skeptical of our military interventions and that they haven't resulted in the world being a safer place, that we should embrace free trade as a way to bring the world together, and diplomacy, and not compromise our national defense in any way. But those are the platforms that we're offering up that I think are much different than Hillary, than Trump, and really broad middle. I think Libertarian Party right now is representing the broad middle.
Did you happen to watch last night Leon Panetta, the former CIA director, former Secretary of Defense, gave a speech in which there was a contingent of, I believe, probably Bernie Sanders supporters, but people in the California delegation who started chanting "No more war, no more war," and the lights actually got turned off on them. But did you see a contrast there between what was being messaged from the stage and what was happening in the crowd?
Yeah, well, yes, and I think that Bernie Sanders supporters were echoing what I think a lot of people are thinking, that we are in a state of endless war. Why aren't we getting out of Afghanistan tomorrow? Are we going to really be there for eternity? And as bad a situation as might exist in Afghanistan with us getting out tomorrow, that same situation will exist 20 years from now if that's when we decide to get out, or if we never decide to get out. That also seems to be a course that a lot of politicians think we should follow.
What do you view as Donald Trump's foreign policy? What is his foreign policy to you?
You know, good question. I mean, it's on one hand, it makes some sense, but I think that we do need to honor our treaties and our obligations. They can certainly be examined and repositioned after you take office, but initially, people in the world need to be assured that we will live up to our obligations. Donald Trump, on one hand, talks about non-military intervention, about that he would not have gone into Iraq. I think that Syria and Libya were mistakes in that Clinton and Obama supported the opposition in both of those countries, and unintentionally the opposition is aligned with ISIS, and you know, you can't make this stuff up. So. Broad path down the middle that, like I say, I think is representative of most people.
But that said, I mean, Donald Trump too. What do you think that he is? I just spoke with a couple of Republicans who were here trying to convince other Republicans to vote for Hillary Clinton because they feel like Donald Trump has gone so far and strayed from what they see as conservative and Republican values, and because they feel like he would be such a disaster for their party and for the country. So how do you convince people that it's worth voting for a third party, worth potentially tipping the scales to either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, instead of just going for who they see as the lesser of both evils, as I often hear it explained?
If Donald Trump is elected or Hillary Clinton is elected, I think there will be more polarization among Democrats and Republicans than ever before. If you elect the Libertarian Party candidates, Gary Johnson and Bill Weld, two former Republican governors reelected in heavily blue states, who are going to appoint bipartisan administrations, libertarian-leaning, that are going to reach out to both sides and say, hey, come on, let's get together on these issues, really goad both sides into doing what they should be doing. Under which scenario might something get done? I think the latter scenario stands the best chance of succeeding.
I want to read a couple comments here. Lisa says, let's hope that there will be 4 debating. Germ says, that's my guy. And Lisa says, the more, the merrier. Matt Downey is speaking about your policy, says wants to eliminate the minimum wage, supports the TPP, get bent Gary Johnson. Kathy says he will never be on the ballot in my state. Delaware doesn't recognize a third party. I mean, let's talk about the obstacles that you are facing here, because you need 50.
I will be on the ballot in all 50 states, and Delaware may be one of those states where I'm on the ballot as an independent. There are a couple of states where I'm actually listed, myself and Bill Weld are listed as independent. I was not aware that that specifically was Delaware, but I don't want to say that she's misspeaking. But like I say, in a couple of states, third parties are not allowed, so in those states we're on the ballot as independents, but on the ballot in all 50 states.
But the debate stage, right, that's where you are going to get a lot of national attention, and that's where you still have to reach that 15% threshold in order to be able to make it.
I think we're going to get there. I think that our consensus number right now is north of 10%, and right now we just need to be included in the polls as one of the three candidates right off the bat, Clinton, Trump, Johnson. If they would do that, I think I'd be at 20% in a very short amount of time.
How do you feel about Jill Stein? She is the Green Party candidate, and she seems to be picking up a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters who are unhappy with Hillary Clinton. And actually, the two of you, Green Party, Libertarian Party, are polling at record highs, for the very kind of small history that we have for third parties here in the United States.
Well, my political arm, Our America Initiative, is suing the Presidential Debates Commission. The contention is that if you're on the ballot in enough states to mathematically get elected, then you should be included in the presidential debates. We included the Green Party in our lawsuit without them having to put up any money. So I'm on the side of equality here. The Green Party was on the ballot in 36 states in 2012, and it appears as though they'll be on the ballot in as many states this go-round and could, in fact, garner the 270 electoral votes. So from that standpoint, she should be included. Green Party should be included in these polls also.
If you had to choose, who would you rather be president, Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, if those were the only two options?
Since 1971, there has always been a libertarian option. So in my voting lifetime, there's always been a libertarian option, and I would take the libertarian option.
Got it. But I guess the question is that if right now there is enough support for third-party candidates to where it can actually significantly, the way it did with Ross Perot, impact the election, how will you feel if you tip the scales in favor of Donald Trump?
Terrific. I'm here to ruin the party. This is a two-party system that absolutely needs crashing, and I hope I crash it.
All right, let me get a couple more comments in here too from people. And people saying Gary Johnson is loved by veterans and has our vote in bunches. Kathleen says we need Gary Johnson in the debate. We need a reasonable voice on the stage. Todd says he's awesome. And Lisa says, I like anything that is shaking up the two-party system. It's time to work for the people. How have you been taking in this news about the leaks that have come with from the DNC in terms of what the party was doing?
Oh, we can all guess that those things are happening, and whenever those things are revealed, similar to Snowden and his release, they are happening, and it's discerning. And yeah, the system is gamed, and Bernie Sanders was right. I do believe in transparency. I realize the DNC is not a transparent organization, nor is the Republican Party, but government should be transparent.
And what do you do with all of the fear, the xenophobia, the prejudice that Donald Trump is playing upon and perhaps even riling up in people in a certain sense in order to get people on his side?
Well, it's not the country that I'm growing up in right now. I don't think things have ever been better right now. We get along better. We communicate with one another better. Kids are smarter than ever. Number one law enforcement tool is right there in your hand. It's the smartphone. We've got issues. Police shooting blacks. Police getting shot. But you know what? We're communicating this in a way, and by communicating this in a way, perhaps coming to a quicker understanding of just how much discrimination has existed and that it continues. I think it has roots in the drug war. Look, if you're black, there's a 5 times more likelihood you'll get shot by a police officer than if you're white. if you're arrested on drug-related crime, there's a 4 times more likelihood you'll go to prison as a result of drug-related crime than if you're white.
So for those maybe who aren't as familiar with your platform, what do you suggest to do to fix the problems that the drug war has created?
Well, I think that we should legalize marijuana. It's something that I professed in 1999. I was the highest elected official to call for the legalization of marijuana. I think when we legalize marijuana, and I think California this November is going to be a tipping point. I think they're going to vote to legalize marijuana, and then I think after they do it, I think 20 state legislatures will just pass the legislation in lieu of going to the ballot box. When we do that as a country, and this is what I've said in 1999, same thing I said in 1999, when we do that, we're going to come to a quantum leap when it comes to understanding drugs, and we're going to start with recognizing the drug problem first as a health issue rather than a criminal justice issue.
And when you say we're going to recognize it as a health issue, how does that mean that we'll actually address it as a health issue, right? How will we treat it? Where will the money come from?
It starts with decriminalizing. It starts with, like I say, you could look at other programs if you want to look at death from overdose, death from opioids right now. That is completely prohibition related. That's quality, quantity, unknown. It's the fact that someone has been arrested and now the supply chain has been broken. So when you start to look at it as a health issue, we have the most effective policies in the world right now for killing heroin addicts. And if we really care about heroin addicts living and potentially turning their lives around, concerned with death, disease, crime, corruption, look, you start with looking at it as a health issue, and you could look at cities like Amsterdam, you could look at cities like Vancouver that have adopted programs that clearly are saving lives.
Right, but should those be government run programs? Whose responsibility? Where does that come from?
Not from the federal government. No, these are going to be local initiatives. But let's take Philadelphia, for example. If Philadelphia genuinely wanted to reduce overdose, Philadelphia could set up a clinic or a lab that you as a heroin addict could bring your heroin in, get it tested without fear of getting arrested, and determine whether or not you were going to die from taking that dose.
And do you think that cities and the society is ready to do that in terms of stigma?
I don't. We're not ready for it yet, but we legalize marijuana. I think everybody takes giant steps toward recognizing the scenario that I just pointed out. No, right now, needle exchange. When you exchange needles, you reduce HIV, hepatitis C. That was legislation that I signed in New Mexico and passed, and hepatitis C, HIV, as a health issue, was reduced significantly because heroin addicts were not spreading HIV.
Now, one of the things, too, that you said earlier today was that you and, of course, your running mate, Bill Weld, have been speaking with Mitt Romney, and you think that
Bill has been speaking with Mitt Romney, but I just view Mitt Romney's comments as being very positive, and who knows what ends up happening.
But do you think that Mitt Romney would be willing to endorse you?
Well, he's said that. He has said that on air, that he's looking at Johnson and he's looking at Weld, and he knows Bill Weld, and he knows. I think he said, I wouldn't have any issue backing Bill Weld. Well, I'd like to think that Bill Weld and I are very much on the same page, and that he could well come around. It'd be terrific if he would. It's terrific already that he made the statement that he made.
So you would accept his endorsement, because you did run against him in 2012.
Yes, I absolutely would. Yes.
Is there any endorsement that you wouldn't take? Anyone from the Republican Party who you don't want?
Well, if it was the Ku Klux Klan, no, I wouldn't accept that endorsement. If it was anyone that has a history of discrimination or has a history of being someone that I personally despise, no, I wouldn't want their endorsement.
All right. And so finally, in the last election, 2012, you gained or received over 1 million votes. That was the highest number that a third-party candidate had ever received in U.S. history. So what what's the number? What's the thing that's going to be success for you this time around, short of becoming the president of the United States?
Well, that's the goal, and I wouldn't be doing if that wasn't the goal. Yeah, I'll continue to be a spokesperson, but I do expect to be in the presidential debates. I think that it is going to happen, and when it happens, anything is possible.
All right, Governor, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for watching and leaving your questions and your comments as usual. And we will see you on the next stream, although I think this might be our very last stream for our DNC coverage. But thanks for watching all of that. Bye, guys.
You get to pull the exit corridors. All right, I think we're out of here. We can exit right over there, yeah?
Can we get a...
We can't get out that way.